Today on Don't Talk TV, I'm going to talk about the hot topic that came out of the Public Order Emergency Commission, the expulsion of Freedom Convoy lawyer Brendan Miller from the proceedings for an emotional outburst that he had. Hello, my name's Nicholas Wansbutter. I'm a lawyer in Stratford, Ontario, Canada, and welcome to Don't Talk TV. So for anyone who's been following the Public Order Emergency Commission to any extent, you likely heard about the fact that the lawyer for one of the lawyers representing the Freedom Convoy was kicked out by the commissioner earlier this week. And I wanted to give some thoughts about that because many people texted me about it or sent messages to me through other platforms. A lot of people seem to be really upset about this, lionizing Mr. Miller as a hero. And I thought I'd give my thoughts because I have a bit of a different take on this. I don't see him as some victim of corruption or some great hero for getting himself kicked out. But first, let's just look at the context. As we know, we're in the midst of the Public Order Emergency Commission. This is in the context of Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino giving evidence. So before there was a morning recess taken, Mr. Miller got up and respectfully asked the commissioner orally, made an oral application to be able to call a witness. He didn't think was going to be forthcoming, but this person had shown up to everyone's surprise, and they had some very relevant information to put forward. The commissioner said you need to put that in writing, and also suggested that Mr. Miller speak to commission counsel during the break to see if there could be some agreement reached. Mr. Miller was not happy with that answer. It would seem from his comments that there had been numerous written applications made that hadn't been ruled upon, and he was frustrated that the commission wasn't going to rule on this and that this important witness wouldn't be allowed to be called just because they were essentially ignoring all of the applications being brought properly by lawyers for various parties. So then after the break, there was this exchange that resulted in Mr. Miller being removed.
Done in writing, not in the middle of the
Sir, we
presentation.
filed two motions in writing at your
I'm
direction
sorry.
that you've refused to rule on with respect to the redaction of documents from the Government of Canada.
You're speaking,
That has
I'm
not been
speaking.
ruled on, and they've been filed for
I will
days.
take a break while you're asked to
Sir?
leave. I will return in 5 minutes if security could deal with the council.
I'm giving you my thoughts based on what I've seen. I'm not particularly trying to criticize Mr. Miller. He may well have had a strategy or a plan in doing this, and it may have been a calculated risk to try to get some attention because nothing else was working. But I'm going to tell you why I personally am not a fan of this and why I don't think it was a great tactic. So first and foremost, I don't think being belligerent and unprofessional is effective. I can certainly understand frustration. Emotions get high in a lot of cases, but as a lawyer, in my view, your job is to be the one who stays calm, professional. Don't let your emotions get involved. I think it's much more effective, and you're going to be listened to more by the commissioner or by the judge in any given case if one is professional, well prepared, reasonable, and respectful. And I think we can see that counsel for the JCCF, Keith Wilson, he did it exactly the way I would have. He brought up the same objection, but in a very calm, respectful manner, and he was heard. Now, it probably didn't change the ruling any. Seems that these things haven't been ruled on or weren't ruled favorably, but in my view, Mr. Miller's outburst here and interrupting and speaking over the commissioner didn't do anything positive in the realm of the court case. Now, a lot of clients really like it when lawyers put on a show like that, but in my experience, behaving like that doesn't get the results. And my personal approach is I'm more interested in the results than entertaining the client. Secondly, I don't feel that it serves the client. Now, it worked out okay in this instance because Mr. Miller was only ejected for the rest of the day. As I understand it, he was allowed back in the next morning. But What if he hadn't been allowed in the next morning? He wouldn't be able to cross-examine Mr. Mendocino, he wouldn't be able to cross-examine Mr. Trudeau, or any of the other cabinet ministers that were called. So in my view, that's not serving the client. It may have been viscerally satisfying at the moment, and again, the client may have enjoyed it, but now you're deprived of counsel, and you're not doing anything when you're out of the courtroom. Now, again, that isn't what ultimately happened here, so maybe it was a calculated risk that Mr. Miller took, and it worked out for him, but it might not have worked out for him, so that's the second reason why I personally am not a fan of this approach. Thirdly, in my view, wrong is wrong. Even if the other side is doing wrong, that doesn't justify us doing wrong, and it goes back to something I've said in a number of videos. What I am a fan of is the approach of Mahatma Gandhi to be the change you want to see in the world. People are upset, rightfully, and complain about the lack of rule of law. Well, we're not going to bring back rule of law by disrespecting it ourselves. In my view, we need to always take the higher road. Everyone should take the high road and behave the way that you would like others to behave. Treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Respect the law. You'd like to see other people respect the law. Respect authority the way you'd like to see other people respect authority. And personally, I believe that authority should be respected. So for that reason, I don't like that as well. Lots of people are saying to me, well, you know, the government, they're not respecting us. They're doing that. So therefore, we should just throw out everything, throw out civility, throw out professionalism. I don't think that's going to work. It just gives further ammunition to mainstream media to paint freedom people, so-called, as crazies. And that seems to be the way the media is running with this, although the National Post, I saw a pretty even-handed article about it. And rightly or wrongly, like it or not, 90% of Canadians get their information almost exclusively from mainstream media. So I think it's something that you have to consider. This show, of course, is not legal advice. If you need legal advice, contact a lawyer. You can call another lawyer or myself. My phone number and website are listed below. If there's topics you'd like to see me cover on the show, please send us a recommendation or a request to the email address listed below, or leave a comment in the comment section. And if you found this video at all interesting, helpful, or informative, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and following us on social media.